Hey everyone, welcome to The Alternates, a basketball show for the others where we like to showcase independent music and discuss all things basketball. We've got a great show lined up for you today. We're going to be hitting some of the classics, checking out headliners, Underground Network. We've got a really interesting one today. We're going to be playing 3-pack, and of course, it's Friday. We're hitting the Casino of Clayton. He might be on tour, but the casino never closes. So we will be putting some alternates dollars down on the weekend lines. We've got all that and more, plus a very special guest that I will be announcing after this song, which is Your Best Interest by Entry. That's right. I decided to pick one of Clayton's bands while he's not here because he would never do it himself. We love you and miss you, Clayton. This is off of the 2020 Detriment LP on Southern Lord Records. We will be back in just a moment. What is up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. We, of course, are The Alternates. I am your host, Brian Cullen, and with me is a very special guest today, sipping that Modelo like just a straight G right now. I appreciate that. We've got basketball writer and director of development at Edifeye, Steven Louis.
What's going on, everybody?
Steven, thank you for joining us.
What up? What up?
Before we get into the show, I want to take a quick second, ask you all to subscribe to the show on YouTube. That's youtube.com/thealternates. Like the video, that thumbs up really, really helps us with the algorithms. If you're not catching the show on YouTube, wherever you're listening to the podcast, go ahead and hit subscribe so you can stay up to date with all things alts. If that platform has a rating and review, hit us with one of those. It really helps us out. All of this is you just helping us beat the algorithms. If you want to get a hold of us, you can email the show, thealternateshoop@gmail.com. You can follow us on TikTok at thealternatesNBA, or you can get a hold of us by leaving a comment in the comment section below, and I will reply. It is what I do. I am the Alternates reply guy on the YouTube channel. Steven.
What's up, man?
You're sitting with the ultimate reply guy.
I didn't think it would happen like this.
Well, you made it.
Didn't think it would happen like this. What's going on, man?
So excited to get you on the show, man. I really appreciate you being here. You and I have met online, basically. A mutual friend put us in touch probably like 2 years ago now, which is crazy to think about.
Shout out Albert.
Albert Corrado. Albert.
Yes. Melly forever.
Melly forever. But yeah, I when I was doing Ball is Left, we were talking about that, and now we're doing this, and you're kind of the perfect guy for this show. Since we're all about counterculture, basketball, you fit that perfectly.
The reply guy and the perfect guy.
The reply guy and the perfect guy. I think that might be the episode name.
Yeah, perfect.
But I'm really happy to get you here. You're the first, I believe, Knicks fan that we've had on the show, which I'm excited about. If you have watched previous episodes, I am sorry for what we've said about the Knicks. Although I can't imagine your opinion is too much different.
No, it's pretty par for the course. It's like the Julius thumbs down thing. Like,
yeah.
Used to that.
Fair enough. Well, you want to jump into headliners?
Absolutely, man.
Let's do it. So I got some headlines here. I'm gonna throw your way.
Mm-hmm.
I got some fun ones. I got a couple New York ones too. So I want to get your takes on these.
New York number one.
So
never sleeps.
We're gonna start in New York.
Yes, sir.
Where New York City has announced Eric Adams is not in New York City, but the mayor of New York has announced that they are lifting the vaccine mandate, but not for everybody, just for professional athletes and entertainers. I think this one is interesting. Obviously, there are basketball implications with the Nets, right? Kyrie can now play at home. It might make them one of the most dangerous 8 seeds we've ever seen.
Yep.
But it also just tells me how incredibly powerful the Yankees are, because it really feels like as soon as the Yankees were like, hey, we've got a season coming up and we got a dude who's not really telling us anything, make sure he can play. And it seems like that worked. And then it's just further proof to me that the inconsistency here really only benefits the rich. We have talked about the inconsistency on the show before, and it just every step they take doesn't fully make sense to me, right? Like, I don't agree with Kyrie's opinions on vaccines and all of that, but it didn't make sense that he could sit courtside but couldn't go into the locker room. Now it doesn't make sense that he can play, but maybe a employee at a concession stand in Barclays who isn't vaccinated can't go back to work yet.
Right. It's all very incoherent politics. I would say that, like, it's interesting. I'm very pro-vaccine. Get your vaccine. You should have your vaccine already.
Yeah.
But like the criticisms against Kyrie Irving were that he was being anti-scientific, that he was flaunting the sound medical advice here.
Yeah.
And doesn't this same law like totally do that?
Yeah, both sides are just ignoring the science now.
No one's listening to the science, and I think it's just kind of becoming, confirmation bias either way. It's also just like baseball is such a different thing in New York than basketball. Like, there's 162 games. That's 81 home games for each team. Owners are not going to let that money, just dry up like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. And it's the policy comes down to money at this point, right? Are you generating enough income for us to ignore the science and allow you to get back to work so that, the wealthy class can continue on living life the way that they want to? Yeah, the inconsistency is maddening to me. But let's move on, because I could go down 1,000 rabbit holes here. Next, we're going to Denver, where Michael Malone, Michael, don't call me Mike Malone, agrees to a multi-year extension as head coach with the Nuggets. Now, the specifics of the extension have not been released yet, but a couple things to highlight here. I love this for both Nuggets and Michael Malone. I'm glad that he's getting some flowers here. He is 309 and 237 as his total record as head coach of the franchise. That's third. He's got the third most wins in franchise history as a head coach, and his 20 postseason wins is fourth all time with the Nuggets. It just makes me happy because I don't think that he's really gotten enough credit with what he's been able to do with the Nuggets. And this is long overdue and well-deserved for this guy. I even think that his time with the Kings was kind of overlooked a little bit, and what he was able to get out of that club. Now he's doing it with Denver. It just makes me happy to see this guy getting something that he deserves.
Go ask Boogie Cousins about it, who is now in Denver.
Totally, yeah.
Probably a testament to
and he looks better
how
with
nice
Denver.
Michael Malone is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? For a allegedly uncoachable player. I was just thinking about this, man. What's the best asset that Michael Malone has coached? Obviously, Jokic is the best player. He's an MVP.
Okay,
that's a second round pick.
Yeah,
right. Realistically, it's probably Jamal Murray as the 7th pick. And maybe trading for Aaron Gordon.
Yeah.
And he's what did you say? 309 and 237?
Yeah.
In this West?
Yeah.
Man.
And those
Give that
numbers,
man some credit. That's real impressive.
Those wins are also we're talking pre-MVP Jokic, right?
For sure.
What he's been able to turn this team into is incredible. And credit goes to the front office too. They have had this very clear vision that wasn't always clear to everybody else, right? They had to make the decision of let's move Nurkic and go directly down the road with Jokic, who, as you said, was a second-round pick. That can be a very risky move to make. They also gave that extension very early on to Jamal Murray, and at the time, people scoffed at it, and now people are talking about it like, well, if they get Jamal Murray back, they might be favorites to win the West, right? Like, I think this team, full health, is probably the scariest team in the West. Man. To me, as a Clippers fan,
over Phoenix? Full health.
Yes.
Wow.
We forget that last season, post All-Star break, they were the best team in the NBA until Jamal Murray got hurt.
Totally true.
Yeah, they're. I mean, the Aaron Gordon trade was fucking genius. He was probably too high in the pecking order in Orlando. He's got the perfect role with this team.
Yep.
You've got Jokic, which is something we've never seen before. Jamal Murray, like this team is truly scary at full health.
Michael Porter Jr., forgot about that. That guy was going to take probably that year 2 to 3 leap.
Yeah.
Instead, he ends up missing the whole year. Will Barton's been out like half the year.
Absolutely.
Their guards have been like Austin Rivers and Facundo Campazzo. Like,
Yeah.
Man, give Michael Malone. This has become a Michael Malone.
They're not a playing team. That's what I'm saying. They're not a playing
not at all.
team.
They're good. And shout out Michael Malone.
Yeah,
seriously.
absolutely, man. Good to see it. All right, this next one's kind of fun. So the other night, Miami
Yes, sir.
had a fun little incident in the game against the Warriors, and it was not towards the Warriors. Caught on a couple different cameras. Courtside at the bench, there was let's say a kerfuffle, a commotion, a disruption, if you will, perhaps a hurly-burly, a to-do, a brouhaha, a hoo-ha, if you must, between Jimmy Butler, Eric Spoelstra, and the legend Udonis Haslem, who is shooting 50, 40, 90 this season, by the way. That's on like a total of like 10 minutes. But
wait. No, seriously?
Yeah, but it's like the smallest.
Yo,
that's not
that's
a real.
So cool.
I mean, it's cool,
That's
but it's also
so cool.
You could shoot 50, 40, 90 once, never play again, and have that for the season.
Udonis Haslem his flowers as well. That's so cool. Is he taking? He's taking 10 free throws. He's shooting 9.
No, it's like
no.
Like
not even that.
I think he's actually shooting something like 50, 60, 100 because he's played like a total of 4 minutes this season.
You undersold that, man. That's a 50, 60, 100 season. Way different. Nice.
Perspective is everything here. Is this incident? Is it troublesome for the Heat? Do you think that this is like a thing that the Heat or their fans should be worried about?
Seems like a typical South Beach night out. To me,
This is the hangover.
When things don't go right at that part of the night. No, I mean, I would rather see. You're a Clippers fan. I'm a Knicks fan. Like, I would rather see a team act like that for a Wednesday, ostensibly meaningless game as the 1 seed than some of the way that our teams have been responding this year. Body language.
Don't throw the Clippers in there.
I can't even throw the Clippers.
They've been playing hard as hell.
The Knicks, the Nets, the Lakers.
Yeah.
I like seeing this. I mean, ultimately, the only people who are going to know the magnitude and the consequence of this are the 15 dudes plus in the locker room there. Sure. But if you're a fan, I feel like, fuck it. They're the 1 seed. They're going hard at each other. I feel like, if anything, it's a little bit assuring to see.
Does it change a little bit knowing that basically everywhere that Jimmy Butler has gone, there has been some kind of kerfuffle, disruption, brouhaha?
I just saw the zoomed in still of Kyle Lowry when he found out that it was going
the best
down
reaction,
like this. I saw somebody say he was going to walk from Miami to Toronto.
As a non-confrontational person, I loved his reaction of just getting up and walking away.
What other situation are you in where your boss or your supervisor or your elder, whatever, is asking you plainly, do you want me to fucking fight you, bro? Celebrate those moments when they happen.
Oh, fair enough.
Between. So
PJ Tucker was incredible too.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for all of it.
He just had this shocked look.
Here's the thing. If they won that game, just how fickle the outcomes are. If a couple shots go, that run, that like 32-13 run goes a little differently.
Yeah.
We're talking about that as such a cool galvanizing, like heat
it was the turning point.
Heat culture moment, right?
Yeah.
So it's just based on the kind of arbitrary outcome of did they win that game. I think they'll be fun.
Okay, fair enough. I agree with that, definitely. All right, this last one I've got in here just for you. We're going to talk about your boy Julius Randle, who just received his 5th fine of the season. His total fines paid is $155K. Now, these are what he's been fined for. Hostile language towards a ref. Shoving Cam Johnson into a ref. Refusing to comply with the investigation into the Cam Johnson shove. Not speaking with the media and using profane language with the media. And we're not even including the fines that he's paid on his 11 technical fouls this season. I want to know, what's your take on this? And is Julius Randle part of the future with the Knicks?
I mean, the unfair thing for Julius, like, the ethos of sports is go hard as you can all the time. And Julius did that last year. Julius had, by every observable metric, and even just that, like, little special inside feeling, like, Julius was that guy last year, had the season of his life. And now, unfortunately, he did it in New York, of all places, and ended, like, a decade playoff drought to host a playoff series. But, like, he set the expectations on himself so unfairly high. That if you were to show a Knicks fan this season of Julius Randle and they didn't know about the season before that, it's pretty good. Certainly, it's a mark above that first season we had him under contract. It's probably a statistically, average year for him.
Sure.
So I don't know, man. I mean, he can afford it.
Oh yeah, it's a slap on the wrist for sure.
Yeah, I feel like it's fool's gold to like try to, think that he's going to be a long-term part of this, just the way that it's been playing out.
Yeah.
But I also don't know what that trade is. The number of teams that can afford that contract, that are still competitive, that have reasonable assets to send back, that would have any reason to like do that. I thought it was going to be the Kings for sure. Shout out all my Knicks hopeless Twitter, refreshers. It seemed like that was going to happen for a bit. Now I thought it was going to be De'Aaron Fox, not Tyrese Halliburton. I'm not that crazy. I'm not that strung out, but it was proved that like that was the type of player they were looking for. It turned out to be Sabonis, who's probably a better version of that player, but like it is a pretty, the thinking was there. Other teams that could use that guy at that amount, I don't know. But if I had to guess, no, he's not. I just don't know where he's like
Julius for Zion.
I don't know why they do that.
I mean, if Zion says I want out,
he's played in New Orleans. He does not like it.
Yeah, nobody does because that ownership group does not care about that team. But I mean, if Zion says, "Hey, I hate it here. I want out. I want to go to the Knicks," maybe that's the package.
Yeah, but the way that the Knicks history works, we're probably also including like 3 firsts, Emmanuel Quickly, Toppin, and like half of Brooklyn. Like literally geographically, that's just Louisiana now. That's just another ward, another ward or parish, whatever that is now.
Fair enough.
But yes, that would be awesome. Get Zion home.
All right. You heard it here first. Zion to the Knicks. Lock it in. Okay. Now I want to get an underground network.
Okay.
In this segment, this is where we pick a topic that we feel like maybe isn't getting enough coverage, something we feel like isn't being talked about enough. And I've got one specific because you're here. And I want to talk about some of the work that you're doing along with it. But let's start with the stories. Now, it's a 2-parter, seemingly unrelated, but I'll tie it all together. Don't worry. I'm a professional. So we're going to start with Donnie Nelson, former GM of the Mavs. He is currently suing the Mavs for wrongful termination. His claim is that he was sued when he brought forth a incident that involved his nephew in a job interview with the chief of staff of the Dallas Mavericks, that there was some sexual harassment, there was a proposition in a hotel room, like really, really awful, sketchy stuff. He claims that he brought this incident forward to Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban offered him $52 million and an NDA to kind of stay quiet about it. He refused. He was then fired, sometime after that. And he's basically saying like, look, this is what happened. This is why I was fired. And is bringing this lawsuit forward. Now the Mavs have vehemently denied all of it. But what's damning for the Mavs is they've already had these kind of cases come forward in 2018 in which they acknowledged were true. And Mark Cuban said, he denied his knowledge of it because his PR team is amazing, but he basically said like, yes, this has happened. We're working on it, all this stuff. So it's not necessarily like we've never heard of this happening with the Mavericks organization. Now, the second part to this involves Robert Sarver, which if people don't remember, because it's kind of been swept under the rug, in November, there were allegations brought forward about him using, racially charged language, using the N-word, sexual harassment, inappropriate comments in the workplace, and the NBA started investigating it. Well, it's never been wrapped up. They said they've investigated like 300 people, and now Al Sharpton and several civil rights groups are basically calling on the NBA saying, hey, wrap this investigation up and do something. Hold somebody accountable, or we will be demonstrating at Suns games, and you got the playoffs coming up, and you don't want this coming to your arenas. Now, Al Sharpton has gone on to say a lot about it. He said, hey, I've seen criminal investigations get closed quicker than this. What's the holdup here? The tie here to me is the Robert Sarver incident. While it's not exactly the same because there isn't a recorded phone call, it makes me think of the Donald Sterling 2014 Clippers and that entire incident, right? He is on tape making some very off-color, what he calls jokes. still inappropriate. I don't care if it's a joke or joke or not, still wildly inappropriate and sends the completely wrong message to your employees.
Yep.
But at that time when Sterling was removed from the board of governors, forced to sell the team, the most outspoken owner in the league against that move was Mark Cuban. Now, Mark Cuban has done a great, as I said, great PR team, done a great job of posing as this very progressive, open-minded dude. But he said, look, we're setting a dangerous precedent here. You know, the things that we say and do in our homes is now, it's removing our businesses from us. And I think that he called it a very slippery slope. My view on this is when somebody's held accountable, look for the sweatiest motherfucker in the room, because that's the next guy, right? And that was kind of what I thought when he made that statement. And, you know, he said, I do not condone anything that Sterling said. This league has no place for bigotry or racism or any of that. But it's also like, it's got no place for it, but also don't really do anything about it. And to me, it was almost like signaling like, I don't want some shit I know about catching up to me. And it seems like it is now. And it's happening to Robert Sarver, but kind of slowing down. You know, it's not the direct action that we saw with Sterling. I want to know a couple things here. What's your take on what's happening here? And the league's responsibility, whatever you think it may be. I mean, I keep thinking back to 2020 in the bubble when they made all these huge statements, started committees for, you know, equal rights and all of these things that seemingly have gone away, especially in these incidences, but across the board, right? Black Lives Matter, it was on the court in the bubble, disappeared as soon as that hashtag was no longer trending. Is this more performative kind of corporate, you know, PR stunt kind of stuff that we're seeing from the NBA? Or do you see maybe a progression happening here with the league?
I think there are two different issues here at play. The answer to yes to all of it. Let's start with the issue here, like the main issue here when it comes to Cuban, Sarver, ownership.
Sure.
This is all in the best interest of the ownership class, of the, you know, we talk a lot about the fraternity of the NBA. Players who have played are the only couple hundred men who know what that feeling feels like, and like know, you know, the same is true times 10 and 100 for these owners.
Yeah, it's an even smaller group, right?
It's 30 of these guys all looking around, feeling that the tide is turning, saying, how do we all, for all of our preservation and power, how do we lock that in? How do we guarantee that?
Yeah.
And I think what it is part and parcel with the second part about the slogans and the hashtags, but I think what Mark Cuban is in particular very acutely and very correctly doing is identifying the turning tide in the sports public, in public perception and access to information overall. Because Donald Sterling is saying some wild shit, Robert Sarver is saying some wild shit, but in 10 years, there might be even less tolerance. You know, this is pretty easy right now. The bar is just like, don't say a racial slur on camera, like on wax.
Literally.
It's going to be fine.
The bar is almost buried still.
The thing about Donald Sterling is that he was not, you know, booted for notoriously exploiting, you know, the worst parts of LA, you know, of California, tenant codes and anti-rent control measures and legislation and you know, carving out East Los Angeles and removing all these natural, you know, native brown and black people. He got fired, or he got pushed out because V. Stiviano leaked some to TMZ.
Yeah.
And so I think Mark Cuban is correctly identifying, like, the standards are getting pushed out are no longer just saying words. That might be the most impactful, and from a neoliberal, you know, corporate media standpoint, that's what's going to get the most play.
Yeah.
But in general, the view of owners, or of that class of people, governors, as the NBA, look, to prove my point, they're governors now.
Yeah.
The collective view of this group of people is, in my opinion, like, acutely worse, like a lot worse than it was even 15 years ago. I'm old enough to remember, like, people siding with Dan Gilbert for LeBron leaving. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's Dan Gilbert, another great example of somebody who's, like, carved out Detroit and, like, just made it unlivable for anybody other than, like, white rich transplants. Is that BLM? I don't think so.
Right.
But because he's not caught saying a word, you know, he's allowed to still maintain ownership. I think it's interesting that Sarver, before all this reporting broke, when you're talking about the bubble, Sarver is one of the 5 owners on that social justice committee.
Yeah.
Along with Clay Bennett, who, look him up on your own time, the oil man who got the Sonics to OKC.
Right.
Pretty ugly. But like, that's my point. Like, there are no black owners, so Robert Sarver can be on the board of social justice. I think, to tie it to the second part, I do think it's all very performative, and I think that if the league had its way, Robert Sarver would already be out of here, especially considering that the Suns are probably the odd-on favorites to win the title this year. Ownership is always, much to everyone's chagrin and frustration, the first people thanked are always the owners.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you going to even risk a situation like that this June?
Yeah, it's a great point. So with that,
yes.
I want to talk a little bit about your work with Edifeye, which we announced at the top there, that you are the director of development. So
Yes,
our
sir.
mutual friend, Albert Corrado, that we shouted out earlier, running for city council here in LA, he is the one who put me on to Edifeye and you and everything that y'all are doing. And I think it's absolutely incredible. I think it's an imperative organization. I think it's long overdue that something like this was created. But tell all the alts out there watching, what is Edifeye? What are y'all doing? It's yours. I think it's such an incredible organization
Absolutely,
that
man.
I wanted to get some shine here.
Well, thank you for the space to talk about this.
Yeah.
And let people know what's going on. Edifeye, in short, is connecting athletes to the grassroots and local, municipal causes that they care about. I think one thing we've seen in the, let's call it the post-Kaepernick era, but especially in the bubble and onward, as you've mentioned, is that these men and women in the WNBA, they care. They care a lot. They are affected by what's happening and transpiring, around them across their timelines. They are hip to the game. They know that they're being exploited and used to, engender some sort of goodwill for the American project. And keep people, smiling and
sports
doing
industrial
the thumbs
complex.
up. Exactly. I know. I'm friends with a couple of NBA guys, and didn't even have to be. There was a lot of reporting about how these guys felt going into the bubble. This was the summer of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, both of whom were murdered by police, unarmed. The extrajudicial murder of Ahmaud Arbery. A lot going on that summer. Just a couple months prior, I was with Albert and my girlfriend and a bunch of other people, like on 3rd and La Brea, like LAPD cars, like smashed on fire, like folks chanting for the real deal. You know what I'm saying? People tagging the Amiri store on Rodeo with Fuck 12, and like it all transpired. It kind of all led to this bubble moment. And then the shooting of a man named Jacob Blake occurred. Jacob was shot in Kenosha 7 times by police. He was in front of 3 of his children. He didn't have a gun on him. It wasn't, it was
horrific.
Just another instance of policing doing, quite frankly, what American policing is supposed to be doing. Protecting class interests and locking up or, worse, black, brown, and poor folks.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that was kind of special about that, though, is that while Jake is fighting for his life, the Milwaukee Bucks of all teams say, we're not going to play our little playoff game in the bubble now. We were already skeptical, but this is enough. The Americans, good little test on the American literacy project that people were calling it a boycott. It's very obviously not a boycott. It was a strike. It was a withholding of labor.
Yeah.
Taking millions, if not billions of dollars in first round playoff bubble coverage and turning that into no. Police who quote unquote represent us in our backyard hurt somebody who looked like us. This happens all the goddamn time, and enough is enough.
Yeah.
That of course started a wildcat strike across basketball. The Clippers and the Lakers, the two kind of title favorites at that time, both voted to stop playing. And while the end result was perhaps not as, fruitful and radical as we would want, I think the main takeaway was public voting access at stadiums, which are publicly funded. Why do we have to have somebody like Jake getting attacked on camera, to the outrage of international outrage, for players to come together and do this. Why does it have to be a national election year to rally and mobilize this sort of solidarity? I got to know Jacob's family. His brother Paulie is one of my closest friends in the whole damn world, just through I went to school in Evanston. So when all this stuff is kind of happening, Paulie and the Blake Jackson family, they're trying to figure out if Jake is going to make it. Jake is surviving, and by the grace of God and whatever you believe in, like, Jake did survive. But at the same time, Paulie's having all these NBA and WNBA players calling, WNBA players lining up shirts that say Jacob Blake and bullet holes, like, calling Paulie and the family saying, what do we do?
Yeah.
How do we magnify and amplify your message? How do we show solidarity? And there's no basis for it. There's precious little framework. We saw how they did Kaepernick. We saw how they did John Carlos 50 years before that. Like, it's never been, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. Like, there's no framework for this. And what Team Edifeye is trying to reimagine is, what if we take that energy, again, without a tragedy, without a national election year, and what if we connect guys to the local, municipal, real needle-moving stuff that they can save lives with?
Yeah.
Quite frankly, if you're hip to the little dirty trade secrets of American politics, the president doesn't do shit. Your senator and governor don't really do shit. It's your city council person, your assembly people in the state, your DA, your comptroller, all that shit. What if we flip? Look, nobody knows who that stuff is. Nobody knows who your comptroller is. Nobody knows, for good reason, for intentional reason.
Yeah, by design.
By design, the arcane ins and outs of local politics. But everyone knows all 15 players on local basketball team. If you're a football fan, you might know 53 players on a roster.
Yeah.
Let's flip that. We know these guys care. We know these guys are plugged into the cities that they rep across the chest. We know that the teams, the leagues themselves, are not going to be incentivized in any way to put them onto actual organizing. Here's Team Edifeye. We're going to make these projects happen for you, connect you to the people who are fighting for liberation in your cities on the, causes that you care about, kind of run project management. We're trying to bring mutual aid to the NBA, WNBA worlds, teach-ins, all types of stuff, man. Really, really excited for what we're cooking up.
Incredible. I love it. Like I said, I think it's long overdue. Such a great organization. And I do think it's worth saying, with the background, this is Jacob Blake, right? This is,
Jacob himself is on the board of Edifeye.
Yeah. His
family tightly involved in all of the organizing work that we're doing. His brother Paulie is our executive director, our president, our QB1. He was the one fielding all these calls from Chris Paul and Asia Wilson, all these folks who want to know how to help.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to be, the middleman's kind of gotten a bad rep.
But it's necessary in a situation like this.
In a situation like this, we want to be the plug. We want to be the middleman. We want to be the connector because nobody else has any incentive or time to make that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's great. Everybody listening and watching, the link to Edifeye is going to be in the episode description. Check them out. Support them any way you can, financially, whatever you have available. I just think it's such an amazing, not just concept, but organization and practice, right? Like there were so many question marks and, my personal opinion, shortcomings with the strike that happened in the bubble. And this is directly making sure that doesn't happen again, that there will be viable changes, and connecting people of influence to true organizations, true movements, like you said, that can move the needle. So
we're going to make it fun. We're going to meet people where they are, which is sports culture.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a WNBA or NBA superstar. If you're a hooper in any capacity as a professional, you represent people. You're a hero to someone.
Sick.
You want to make that little connection.
I love that, man.
Yes,
so
sir.
Cool.
Yes, sir.
So we're gonna take a little bit of a turn here out of the Underground Network.
Okay.
And we're gonna play 3-pack. So 3-pack is it's essentially the old bar game, 2 truths and a lie. So I'm gonna throw 3 facts at you, and you got to sniff out the lie here. Now, as I said at the top, you are the first Knicks fan that we've had on the show, And that means that this week is a Knicks 3-pack.
New York #1.
New York #1, he says.
Let's go.
Founded in 1946, they play in one of the most iconic arenas in the world, Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
Is it the Garden? I got to ask you. Is it the Garden?
It's a garden.
It's not the Garden,
It's
though?
the Garden.
Okay, it's the Garden.
Garden,
All right.
MSG, the Mecca, whatever you want to use. Yeah.
So the franchise has 2 titles, 4 conference titles, and 8 division titles. All that is true. This is not part of the game.
Okay.
I'm just giving some background on
No way I know how many Atlantic Division titles.
I'm just giving some background on the Knicks
Yes.
here.
Yes.
Now, sniff out the lie out of these 3. Fact number 1. The team broke barriers when they became the first team to draft a non-white player in 1947. He was a 5'7" point guard of Japanese descent named Wat Misaka. Fact number 2. They are one of the only 2 teams left in the NBA that has not left its original city. Fact number 3. Patrick Ewing is the all-time franchise leader in just about every traditional statistical category. We're talking points, rebounds, games, and minutes played, free throw attempts and makes, field goal attempts and makes, except for assists and three-pointers made. The all-time assist leader for the Knicks is John Starks, and the all-time three-point made leader is Carmelo Anthony. Which one of these 3 facts is the lie? I'll recap again for you.
That's
Team,
interesting.
They were the first team to draft a non-white player.
Okay.
In 1947, it was Wat Misaka, who was of Japanese descent.
Okay.
They are one of only 2 teams in the NBA that has never left its original city from when the franchise started.
That can't be true.
And number 3,
That can't be true.
John Starks is the all-time assist leader, and Carmelo Anthony is the all-time three-point made leader in Knicks franchise history.
So, I think the first one's going to be true.
Okay.
I know the Celtics were the first player or the first team to draft a black player.
Yeah.
But that's believable to me.
Okay.
2 and 3 both don't sound believable to me. Here's the thing. I know that 3 isn't true because I know that the all-time assist leader is Clyde Frazier. And I'm pretty sure the all-time threes, I don't even need to get into that. I'm pretty sure it is that. However, I am struggling for the fucking life of me. There's no way there are only 2 teams.
There's only one lie here.
2 teams?
There's only one lie here.
Never relocated. Read the wording of that again.
They are one of only 2 teams left in the league that has not left its original city.
So not franchises, teams.
Well, yeah.
So like the Philadelphia franchise relocated from the Warriors.
The Warriors,
but the 76ers have never relocated.
Right.
They've only been the
Because it would be the
76ers.
same as like the Hornets and the Pelicans, right? Like they're different.
Okay. It's got to be number 3.
Number 3 is the lie?
It's got to be number 3.
It is number 3. So, you are right. Frazier is all-time assist leader.
Hell yeah.
Three-pointers made? John Starks.
I was going to say Starks. Okay,
Yeah.
I was going to say Starks or Houston, but Starks
John
was
Starks.
right. Okay, nice.
Can you guess who the
Nice.
other team is that has never left its city?
How is that true? It's got to be Boston.
Boston.
It's got to be, okay.
The Knicks and the Celtics.
How is that true?
I mean, name a team.
The Bulls?
I think the Bulls started on the East Coast.
They were the Packers somewhere, right? Were they the?
Yeah,
I don't know.
But yeah,
Man, that's crazy.
only
That's so hard
only
to
2
believe.
teams. Yeah.
That's so hard to believe.
Well, I mean, that's how we've ended up with like Jazz in Utah and Lakes in LA.
I guess
and,
that does.
And Grizzlies in Memphis.
Whoever the Portland franchise was.
The Blazers.
Yeah. Like I'm saying, like there wasn't a.
No, because you got to think most of these teams started on the East Coast.
Yeah, the Kings were the Rochester Royals. No, this is
Yeah.
all right. Fair enough. When I heard that, I was like, "There's no way. There's no way."
It's wild to think about, but it's true.
Man, so again, root for the Knicks.
Good job.
You know, if
You
you're
nailed it.
if you are anti-gentrification, you should really be rooting for the 2 teams that have stayed where they are, like where they're supposed to be, except one of them is the racist team. So you can just root for the Knicks.
Fair enough. All right.
Morally sound.
It's a good proposal.
Moral imperative, root for the Knicks. Thank
All
you.
right. To round this out for us today, we're going to go try to make some money here.
Okay.
We're going to the Casino of Clayton in this week's Bet Brains. So as I said at the top, Clayton is still on tour, but the casino never closes. So we're going to recap last week's bets real quick and see how I did. And these were brought to you by Natasha. She's the one who placed the money on these bets. So shout out Natasha here.
Shout out Natasha.
First one was Boston at Denver.
Nice.
Jokic had a triple-double, plus 275 odds. We put $50 down on that bet. Lost. Jokic did not get that triple-double against one of the best defenses in the NBA. Second one was OKC at Orlando. This one was mean. Anyone in the game scores 32.5 points or over, plus 300.
If you're betting on Magic Thunder in any capacity, like, seek help.
Oh, I'm a sicko. I'm a certified sicko.
If it's a March game between the Magic and the Thunder and you're betting on it, seek help.
We put $50 on that.
Okay.
And
how did
lost.
that go? Well, there you go.
And lost.
There you go. Yeah.
The last one, this one was interesting. Dallas at Philly.
Okay.
Luka Doncic under 0.5 technical fouls, plus 400 odds, or we parlay it with Joel Embiid also going under half a technical foul.
Okay.
And the parlay was plus 900 odds. We put $100 down on that one.
Damn.
And to Natasha's credit, she talked about, both these guys are getting up there with the text. They don't want to get any suspensions at this point in the season. So they would be on their best behavior. And Natasha fucking hit. We won $900 on that bet.
Natasha, I'm sorry for saying you had a problem. Don't seek help. You're doing great. Keep rolling.
We won $900 last week on the weekend bets.
$800.
$800. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So we've got that money in our pocket. We still have like another $375 or something.
Nice.
From previous winnings.
That was our biggest week. This was our
hands down
week.
The biggest winning week that has existed.
Let's go. Nice.
Plus, we get another $100 because that is my salary for hosting the show, as $100 a week. Wildly overpaid, if we're being honest here. So at the casino, there is two rules.
Yes.
Rule number 1, you have to place a bet.
Okay.
Rule number 2, you have to spend a minimum of $100 at the casino. So
seems doable.
We got 3 bets here. Mm-hmm. I let Natasha play with my money. Mm-hmm. She made me some good returns. Mm-hmm. This week I'm letting you play with my money. So bet number 1, we've got Bulls at Cavs on Saturday.
Okay.
Evan Mobley goes over 1.5 blocks. That's plus 200 odds. Now I will say these teams have already played 3 times. Mm-hmm. All right. Mobley is averaging 3 blocks a game against the Bulls. He got 5 in December. He got 2 in January. And 2 on March 12th, just a couple weeks ago.
So that bet's hit every time.
Yeah, you would hope so.
I'll put
what are we putting on it? We got like.
See, I can't be irresponsible.
Money's a construct, my dude.
Socially liberal, fiscally liberal, but on this show, extremely conservative. So let's put 50.
50. All right, 75
Mobley,
it is.
Mobley getting 2 blocks, and just on a serious note, what a year he's having. He is really something.
Unreal.
Wow.
Unreal. He's so much fun to watch.
Made no sense to me, him and Jared Allen. Turns out I'm an idiot. It makes a lot of sense.
Turns out I'm not a general manager.
I'm not a GM or any personnel evaluator.
All right, second bet we got.
Yes, sir.
It's on the Wolves weekend. So they're at home versus Dallas on Friday.
Okay.
At Boston on Sunday. Over 31.5 3-pointers made over the 2 games. Plus 350 odds. Now, some information here. They are averaging 13.7 3-pointers in 3 games against Dallas. They've only played Boston once, but they got 14 3-pointers made in that game. And their season average is 14.8 made a game. If you look at them after the All-Star break, which is when they've been on this absolute tear, they're averaging 16.2.
They're playing so well right now.
Yeah.
I love how they're playing. So it's plus 300.
350.
For over how many?
31.5 3-pointers made.
I mean, the odds on that are obviously very favorable. So I'm going to take that.
Okay.
With the caveat that the Timberwolves hit 4 threes on that Friday game and fuck up the Boston Celtics. If you don't know anything about me, I hate Boston sports. I hate the Boston Celtics. The Timberwolves are going to drop like between 40 and 100 threes on the Celtics this weekend. So that's easily over. Yes.
Okay.
Obviously.
What do you want to put on it?
Put another 50 on that.
Another 50.
Yes,
okay.
Sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know if you caught it, but on the last bet, I added 25 because I liked it so much. So
hell yeah.
We're up to 125. So we've already hit the casino minimum.
Okay. So I don't even have to touch this.
No, you have to bet on it.
I'll have to bet on everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Casino bet.
So
Cool.
this is our first time ever in BetBrains.
Okay.
A pick'em. So here's what we got. Kings at Magic on Saturday. And Clayton, I know you're watching this. Stop picking on my Magic. I don't appreciate it. So it's Kings at Magic Saturday. Okay. You got to pick one team to get to 10 turnovers first. So the first team to get 10 turnovers. The Kings is plus 250 odds. The Magic is plus 150 odds. So I looked at this.
Is this just like a haha fuck Cole Anthony bet? Like
no, this is a haha fuck Brian bet from Clayton on the road.
Fair enough.
So both teams, Clayton is scary good at these betting lines. I got to say that. And like Harrah's, or I don't even know if Harrah's is still a casino. Any casino out there, you have a world-class croupier for hire in Clayton here.
Nice.
So both teams are averaging 14 turnovers a game. Now I wanted to dive in a little more. In their last 10 games, Sacramento is averaging 7 turnovers in the first half. Orlando is averaging 6. Take that, Clayton. Which one of these teams is going to get to 10 turnovers first?
Oh, man. I mean, here's the thing. I wish that the Kings had a really efficient, high usage, low turnover point guard to initiate their offense through right now to really make me confident on that. Someone like Tyrese Halliburton. Bad joke, but like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I haven't been on a podcast to talk about that since that happened. What the fuck? I gotta say the Kings. It's better value.
I love it.
De'Aaron Fox has been reckless with it. That's also true with his NFT thing. Just reckless. De'Aaron Fox playing recklessly.
That has almost been in the Underground Network.
Believe it or not, I trust Sabonis to actually turn the ball over more in this game than Wagner or Wendell Carter.
Oh, my guy Franz.
I'm going to say the Kings plus 250. Now, I'm not very confident on this because, again, the Magic
they're neck and neck.
So bad. But it does sound like they're neck and neck. Yeah. So I'll take the value.
Okay.
I'll put another 50 on that.
50. I love it.
Sir.
All right.
Sir. Yes, sir.
So we're going to come back next week, see how we did on this. Hopefully my value as a newly made thousandaire continues to grow, and maybe I'll be on the board of governors someday, and I could have my own problematic scandals in the media. No, I don't want to do that, but we're going to see how we do on this.
You sure you don't want to do that? I mean, it looks so fun. Robert Sarver looks like he's having so much fun.
Yeah. Especially when the goats are in his office.
Jerry Buss, when he does the little cut to the break the fourth wall thing. You don't want to be doing that.
I could just do that on the street.
20 years from now. You can do that to anybody. You don't even have to
20. I'm thinking 20 weeks from now. That's how this is going for me in the casino.
You don't even have to own an NBA team to just annoy people with the Adam McKay shit.
I've been doing it for years.
You can just go in and do it. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, we appreciate Clayton setting those lines. We appreciate you playing along, and we appreciate all of you watching this episode. Don't forget to hit us in the comment section. Let me know how you're spending your alts dollars at the casino of Clayton. That's the show. Thank you for coming on.
This was so fun. Thank you for having me.
You've got the floor right now. If there's anything that you want to plug or kind of send the alts towards, like anything that you want them to check out, where are you sending them?
Sending them to edifye.org. Again, not corporately funded, entirely people powered. We are not getting money from the leagues or anything like that. We are looking to create a network of solidarity and radical compassion within the sports world. Folks like yourself show that it's there, that there are people for it. Beyond that, man, give money to your local mutual aid org. Put money wherever abolition is. And get Damian Lillard to the New York Knicks. So the next time I'm on, this could be so much more fun.
Incredible.
It's going to be so much more fun.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you all. I am letting you know right now, I am taking next week off. Clayton is still on the road. I am going to be doing a very long overdue solo camping trip out in the desert.
That's so cool. Where are you going?
Arizona. I haven't decided where in Arizona yet. So it'll be good for me. I'm not going to say exactly where because I don't feel like doxing myself on the show today, but we appreciate you all joining us. I'm going to leave you with the song, which is Broken Cigarettes. Chose this song because it's what I imagine outside the casino of Clayton after a rough night, by Glocca Morra on their 2012 Just Married LP on Kind of Like Records. Thank you all. Be kind to yourselves. Be kind to others. See you soon.